green card holders and travel considerations. And I still can't believe that I'm having to tell a green card holder who has worked so hard and waited so long and proved your relationship over and over at immigration that you have to have concerns about travel. But that is an unfortunate reality. So this is very similar to what I just went over for travel considerations for those with ESTA and a tourist visa. But what holds true is that there have always been situations where traveling with a green card for green card holders it's always been a risk. So that will be our starting point. So if an individual has certain criminal history, maybe pre-green card or post-green card, there can be risks to traveling. If you had a prior immigration court case, not USCIS, but immigration court, where you were in a deportation proceeding in front of an immigration judge, that can make it more risky to travel with your green card. Prolonged travel outside of the US. So once you become a green card holder, you obtaining that green card, you are telling immigration that you want to live in the US and have the US be your home. Therefore, a requirement is that you are living at least half the time in the US and not taking trips outside of the US for more than 6 months. Now, the reason that you might see things on social media about this particular area is that for a long time, it's always been risky. I've always told clients, do not be gone for more than 6 months. And if you need to be gone for more than a year, we need to get a reentry permit. And please don't live half your time in the US and half the time in another country, because immigration will get wise to that. And that's always been a risk. But this administration they're not messing around with this rule. It is a law. It's always been a law. It's always been the advice I've given to clients. Nothing has changed, but the shift in that they're not messing around with this 6-month rule. I know I've had individuals in the past who've come to me who had been outside of the country for years and immigration still let them in, which was basically a miracle, but that is not happening now. So do limit your trips. And then if you had a removal of conditions case that was not timely filed, that's none of our clients, but again, I'd be remiss for not sharing that. Those who have not timely filed a removal of conditions application can be at risk. And why are you at risk as a green card holder when you're traveling more than any other time? The reason is because when you are re-entering the US, it's like applying for admission, essentially. You're being admitted, and they are going to review grounds of admissibility, or rather deportability, to determine if there are any issues. So the other part that I know individuals are concerned with green cards and traveling and really even living in the US, which is really sad, is where this administration is testing the limits. And I read this New York Times article that I thought was actually very helpful, their charts, and helping us see where those lines are and why there's so much feeling of fear and uncertainty right now. So the current administration, you can see the areas that are circled where they're testing those limits. So could immigration authorities detain and deport you even if you've not been convicted of a crime? Unlikely. It was unlikely previously for green card holders, but now we see this circle here. And also, could you be arrested and deported if you've been convicted of a crime? Yes, that's some criminal history. Yes, that's always been true, but the administration is testing the limits with really criminal history that shouldn't rise to that level. So that's this, you're starting to see all these circles are the places of testing the limits and causing a really big question mark for everybody of, am I safe? And then could you be arrested or deported based on your speech? I know a lot of people are asking me about posts and things like that. It's been a very firm no, 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 but now we're seeing, this category here for green card holders. So this chart is helpful for us to see again where they're testing the limits. And again, here's about posting on social media and free speech. You can see for long and short-term visas. So we're talking about like tourist visas and things like that. In the short-term category, you can see there's increased risks there. And then the big one is due process rights. So when you're coming, and I'm going to go over how to mitigate risks when you're re-entering the country on your green card, but the part that gives a lot of individuals pause, even if they don't have those issues that I just outlined, is this lack of due process. So when you're coming into the country with your green card, CBP, they can't just take away your green card and take away your status. They don't have that authority. If they think there's an issue, they have to refer you to an immigration judge. The concern is that this administration has not followed due process rights and in numerous cases. And so that's the biggest, the biggest cause for concern. And again, I'm not telling anyone who has a green card, don't take that trip to Italy with your family. Don't have that wedding ceremony, a celebration abroad. I'm not telling you don't travel at all. I'm not going to say that. I want you to be educated, understand the categories where there's more risk, understand what's going on currently in the world, in the United States, and in immigration, and then you assess your own risk tolerance to make an educated decision. So no immigration, no one is going to be able to guarantee that you're going to be able to travel and come back without issue as a green card holder. I hate to say that that's really where we're at right now. However, like I said, understanding your level of risk tolerance, so you can make an educated decision about whether or not to travel. I have a lot of green card holders that have said, nope, I'm not traveling. I'm going to wait. And once I'm naturalized and I'm a citizen, I'll travel then, but I just don't feel like it's worth it. And I've had others say, I want to travel. I have this really important event with family. I understand the uncertainty, and both are viable options. At the end of the day, it's going to be a personal choice. So again, with the knowledge is power, protecting your electronic devices, limiting your time abroad. I can't emphasize that enough. Be very cautious about staying abroad too long. Don't be gone more than 6 months. Don't do the back and forth a lot where you're spending less than half of the time in the United States. And most important is if you encounter a situation where they're giving you a very difficult time upon reentry, do not sign any forms, especially Form 407. And I've seen this happen even in the past, separate from this administration, where customs agents will just, CBP will really just try to pressure someone and make them believe. It's really irritating, because if individuals ask to speak with an attorney, they often, pretty much all the time, will refuse individuals that. And so you don't have, an attorney that's able to advocate for you. And if you don't know your rights, people will sign this form, and you're basically letting CBP, you're giving them the authority to take away your green card. So please don't do that. Again, still be polite and respectful, even if you're in that situation. Answer questions briefly, to the point. Don't offer details if they're not solicited. And if you're in a very extreme situation and if they're really giving you a hard time, ask them, or tell them rather, I know my rights. If you think there's an issue, please send me to an immigration judge so he or she can make a decision.